Here we go. Welcome back to the Flooring Marketing Mastery Podcast. I'm your host, Cameron Hammondtree. And today we have the first ever guest on the podcast, Mr. Zach Hines from Floor Coverings International. Zach, thanks for joining us, man.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah. You get the privilege and the honor of being the first one for a podcast that, gets a billion views a week. So
Billion views a week. How about that? That's got to be right up there at the top of the podcast list.
yeah, it goes Joe Rogan and then me.
Then you're
So
right here. Okay.
are you a Joe Rogan listener?
Sometimes those are a little bit long. They're a couple hours long. That's a bit
Yeah.
much. But
They are.
sometimes I listen to it.
Yeah. I'll try to catch like little snippets of it, like maybe 30 minutes to an hour, like try and catch a part of the conversation. But um yeah, I mean he's got some good stuff that he talks about. The guys that he has on there, like he had Aaron Rodgers recently. Do you know Aaron Rodgers? Like, are you familiar?
Yeah. I didn't see him talking on that one, but
Oh
he
man.
has Elon Musk a couple times, and he's
Hmm.
got some really good guests on that.
I know with Elon, weren't they like smoke weed every time or something that he goes on there? I feel
They might, but that was one of the few ones that I'll listen to the whole 2 hours. Just
yeah.
kind of listen to what he's talking about. He's
Oh
got a good
yeah.
vision of what the future is going to look like. And
Yes. That is a guy you want to listen to when it comes to the future and tech and AI, whatever. I feel like him and Zuckerberg are usually the guys that it's like, all right, I want to be a fly on the wall of that conversation because that's probably
conversation, yeah.
yeah, yeah. But well, hey Zach, just kind of maybe start off by just telling us who you are and just kind of what you do.
Well, I'm Zach Hines, and I own Floor Coverings International over here in Yukon. We service all of Oklahoma City. Um, I'm actually fairly new to the flooring business. I was in the car dealership world for 28 years, and that got kind of sold out and got my feet taken out from under me. So I thought, you know what, I'm going to try something a little bit different, control my own destiny. So I bought this flooring franchise. There's 250 of the Floor Covering International franchises. They're kind of East Coast and West Coast, and then filling
Mhm.
in the center of the United States now.
Yeah,
So it's been a fun year. It's been a whole different year than I've ever had before. So
yeah.
go from knowing nothing about flooring to just we're actually selling it and installing it. Have a great got lucky, got a great install crew on my first outing.
Yeah.
I was worried about that. How am I going to find guys that I can depend on? And I got lucky. Just
Hmm.
a great crew, and then I've added a salesperson. She's got several years experience, and then she's helped open up all kinds of sales. So yeah, we're going. Yeah,
Yeah. That's
and then we've
awesome.
had you, so that's another partner. So
Yeah, for
yeah.
sure. Well, it's been fun. Man, that's really interesting. You said that to me before about the install crew and how you kind of got them like that was one of your only ones you've ever, is it the only one you've ever had? That's what you,
I've kind of used a couple here and there, but I always go back to these guys. And once I got enough business under my belt where I could feed them kind of daily and weekly,
yeah.
they'll open the calendar for you, and then once that kind of the trust started going, I haven't used anybody else. So
Oh,
and they're one
okay.
of the few crews that do it all. They'll do tile, carpet, laminate,
Yeah.
any of it. So and most crews are kind of either we're tile only or hard surface only or
And you
carpet
have to
only.
get multiple crews because you got to
Yeah,
get each type of flooring. Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. That
So
makes
and
sense.
it just works. Yeah.
Man, I feel like that's probably one of the most important things about, I mean, having a flooring company like you do and outsourcing the installation because like that's your main product, right? Like if you have a
Yeah.
crew that sucks at installing, then customers are going to be pissed
That,
off at you.
yeah, and if you can't depend on a crew showing up on, and that's a big deal.
Oh yeah.
Um, eh,
Yeah.
and I've got to the point where I know what their capabilities are. So if I can sell it in the house without having to call them, it's a lot easier process.
Yeah. Yeah. That makes sense. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it goes back to any business, but like if the product sucks, then you don't have a
Yeah,
business. So
yeah, yeah. They're half of it.
yeah. Yeah. Well, I'm so curious on we've talked about the car business side of things. You came from that, and like, how many years were you in that? You said?
I was in it for 28 years. I was mostly on wholesale parts. And then the dealership I worked for got out of the wholesale parts area, and I went in over to the used car side for a few years. And
Mhm.
they sold out to some guys from Texas, so I just felt like it was a time for change. It was something, I'm about 50, and
Mhm.
that was going to be fine for that to happen, and I'd recover from it. But I was worried about, what if the next guy does this when I'm 58, 59?
Uh,
That's why that was what made me. It wasn't this time. It was like worrying about next time.
yeah,
It's just, so I
absolutely.
want to kind of control my own destiny.
Yeah,
And this was just the right time to do it.
yeah. And what made you pick flooring again?
Well, I was actually going to take a couple months off. I was going to watch my son's senior year of tennis, and before I went to work at another dealership,
Uh,
and a guy, he's just basically a franchise broker, found me out of St. Louis, and
oh, okay. So somebody reached out to
he
you.
showed me six, and they were all, I think in franchises like McDonald's, Burger King, but he showed me six different franchises in different fields, and
Oh, okay.
this is the one I landed on, and he just hooked me up with the salespeople from the Floor Coverings International, and 2 weeks later I had a franchise. So
Okay. Yeah, I didn't
yeah,
know that's how it worked. I didn't know there were like franchise brokers out there.
I who would
And
yeah
you just call
yeah
you, like cold
they're
call?
hunting. I mean, I think they're just hunting people out of work.
Oh. How did they
They're,
know
they,
you're out
you
of
know
work? Is that like
yeah, I mean, well, I mean, and I wasn't really out of work. I just wasn't working for a couple of months. I was going to watch the tennis for a couple of weeks,
they just knew to track you
and going to
down,
go
huh?
back to a different dealership. But they found me
Huh.
while in between a moment
Okay.
of weakness, I guess.
Yeah, I thought this guy was like with FCI and called you up.
No,
I figured they
he
had their own in-house team that would just call people
and
or
they do. They
oh,
have
they
that
do.
too.
Okay.
But once he kind of got me, and he turned me over to their in-house team.
Got it. And FCI probably pays a fee to
Oh,
that.
I'm sure. Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm
It's
sure
a
it's a
flat
nice fee.
100.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So this opportunity kind of just landed in your lap. You weren't even looking for it, and you're like, huh, this
No,
sounds
wasn't looking
interesting.
for it at all.
Huh. And that's quite the shift to go from car
Yeah,
biz
yeah. No,
flooring.
yeah. Car business was so good to me. I never looked to go anywhere else.
Yeah.
And this just it's just a weird thing that it happened, but it's
Top
been great.
salesman of the year. Were you on the car side? Were you like one of the top salesmen?
No, I really never sold the cars. I was more in management.
Okay.
Yeah.
Got it. Got it. Man, so and then you've been doing this for a year now. Has it been
Yep.
exactly a year? Like how long has it
We
been?
opened. I mean, I had to go through. I mean, I knew nothing about flooring. The two houses I've lived in my life had stained concrete. Um,
Yeah.
so I've never even bought flooring. So I've
Man.
never even gone to look for it or anything. And so there was about 3 months of some training going back and forth to Atlanta. They have a nice team that
Yep.
helps you start, but in the end, you come back, and then in September after all the training, came back and got a Angie's lead one day, and go on a sales call, and
Man. Just go sell some
it just kind of
flooring.
works. It just happens. So and
Gosh,
then
that's so
you learn
cool.
a little bit more each time.
Yeah.
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 Man. So it just sounds like they can take someone that knows nothing about flooring to put them through a few master classes, a little bit of time, and they become a pro like yourself in a little window there.
Yeah, well, I mean, I'm certainly not a pro yet, but I mean, I get better every
You're
day.
humble.
So, I was like, oh gosh, I can't imagine. I'd have never sold this job if it was my first day. So you get better. I mean,
Yeah, yeah.
yeah, I mean, you're constantly getting better. So,
Well, how do you feel like the car? Because obviously, cars and flooring is not really related, right? But
no,
obviously,
no,
there's the sales portion in there, and like there is the management portion, like you've done a lot in your career. How do you feel like that maybe aided you in doing this company and like with the flooring side of things and having the success you've had? Do you feel like there's been a relation there? It's helped you a lot?
Yeah, once you learn how to manage problems, it doesn't matter what the problem is. You learn how to
Oh,
manage problems. And that you've got that experience. It doesn't matter. It could have been a paint franchise, for you just kind of figure it out.
yeah,
I mean, but flooring, I mean, there is some liabilities, and you're going into some houses, but but again, you're managing that. So
yeah,
you rely on your installers to know their job, and you sell it. So yeah,
yeah, yeah. That makes sense. Yeah, I love that though. It's just, yeah, I feel like a lot of times, even for myself, and you say that it's you're problem solving, right? Like no matter what the business is, a lot of that's what it comes down to. Really, just like selling and problem solving and managing.
yeah,
I don't know.
yeah,
It's like it's a lot of those few buckets right there.
yeah,
Yeah. So that's I just feel like a firefighter, you know. I feel like that's a lot of times what owning a business is. You're just a glorified firefighter. Just putting out
yeah.
fire.
And if you can figure out how to not have to be fighting fires all the time, then you've made it.
Yeah, yeah. Then you
That's
can go to
when
the
you're,
beach.
yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Well, I know we've kind of talked about it a little bit, but what is kind of your end goal with this business for you? Like, do you want to be in it for a long time or
Yeah, I mean,
what's
I like this business, so I mean, I think I'm here to stay.
yeah,
I mean, I enjoy the part about, it's not, I don't have a boss this time. I mean, I still have to generate a lot of income,
yep,
and that's, this is the vehicle I'm going to do it with, and I like it. So, like the people, like going into houses. I really like, that's the model of our franchise is that we don't have a showroom. It's a
right,
mobile showroom.
right.
So we're going into the house. You get to look at the samples. The little dorky van is full of all kinds of carpet samples, tile. I mean, we've got it all in the van, and you
There's
get to
like a
look at the
thousand in there,
samples.
right? You said?
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
that's the way they kind of count it. One board has three sizes of carpet on it, and 20 colors. Well, that's 60, on one board. But that's our spill. And um yeah, I like taking it in their house. You get to know the people a little better.
Yep.
And in the end, you know, after an interview with them, you can kind of dictate what you bring in to the customer, as opposed to if you had a showroom, there, I mean, they can go anywhere on you
Yeah.
and in that showroom, whereas I control what I bring in the house,
Mm.
and I kind of let them tell me a few things, and for the most part, what we bring in the house is what we end up selling. We rarely go back out. I mean, we do, and we will.
Interesting.
We'll wait till you're happy, but most of the time we can kind of narrow it down for you as opposed to you having all of this samples to look at in the store
Yes.
and just being pulled one way or the other. And
Yep.
because, man, and that one of the similarities between the flooring and the car business is it's not like you do this every day. It's not going to the grocery store every week. The last time you look for a car, cars are completely different now, so you have to restart all over. Well, with flooring, you have to, I don't know, what do we want to do? Laminate? Do we want to do more carpet? So you're starting over every time with your choice. So,
Yeah. Yeah.
and my job, I feel like, is to kind of guide people to
I
where
love that.
they
That's a good
can
way to
make that
put it.
decision. Yeah.
Just guiding people. Yeah. Man, I try and picture because what you're saying here is so good because just imagine if your process was you go to somebody's house and you're like, all right, so we're gonna, measure out the rooms or whatever, like go through the process, and we're gonna have you come out to the van and we're gonna have you look through the whole van and look at all
Right.
the thousand options and you pick which one you like.
Yeah. Yeah. No, that'd be, yeah. And a lot of it, uh, when we get a lead from your product, that we have a setup call, and
Yeah,
it starts right there. Um,
yeah,
just we start asking the questions to narrow it down to where. So we have a pretty good idea when we come into the house what we're looking to do. And, so it's a lot simpler than just having 3,000 samples. Well, we've narrowed it down to one or two products
right.
by the time we get there, and then we can talk about, what do you want to, start at an entry level? Do you want premium?
Yep.
How do you want to do this?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But like you're saying it as if it's like it's an obvious sales thing to do, which for you it is because you're really good at sales and you have the training and stuff. But in the different flooring companies I like talk to and stuff, and just in general, I feel like that's not a thing that is done a lot, like in the sales process. I feel like way too many people make it really complicated, and they do kind of put it all in the hands of the prospect or like the client or whatever. Like, and they just kind of wait on them to make a decision when like that's a lot of pressure for the prospect. And like you're the pro, they're coming to you. They need you to help them. You're the doctor in this situation, right? And they're sick.
Yeah, you want to start helping them narrow that down just rapidly.
Yeah.
And in the end, people really don't want to make a choice, but maybe between two or three
Yeah.
things.
Yeah.
That's what. Yeah, I don't think you need. Gosh, I mean, with the amount of samples we have in the van with carpet, I mean, you'd never make a pick.
No. They'd be like,
Yeah,
oh, I'll think about it. And then they'll never get back to you.
yeah, yeah, and no one's happy there.
No.
Yeah.
My illustration I just gave of like if you did the opposite where they came out to your van and you had them pick, that sounds kind of like I don't know, like trying to kidnap you or something. Hey, come out to my van. I got candy. I
Yeah,
got
yeah,
flooring.
yeah. We've got a wrap on the van. It's not the white kidnapper van.
Dude, funniest thing. I was at Academy. What was this last week? I literally saw one of those. It was a white van in the back of the parking lot, and I kid you not, it said free candy on it. Like somebody wrote it on
Ah,
there with
that's
white
awesome. Someone
marker.
has a sense of humor, I guess.
I don't know. Yeah, I'm like, no
Yeah,
way that's real. There's
yeah, it
no
is.
way. Of course, I took my phone out and I was like trying to,
Yeah,
I made it
yeah. I
really
should have
obvious I was
posted
taking a
that.
picture.
Yeah,
Yeah, I kind of wanted to go in there and see if there was like something sketchy going on, but I was kind of scared. So
yeah.
anyway,
That'd be kind of a scary deal.
yeah, not a good sales
Yeah,
method though for sure. But I don't know. The way I think about it is like, going back to the doctor thing. If you go to the doctor and they're like, "Hey, you have stage 3 cancer," and they're like, "All right, you've got all these different treatment options you can do. You've got chemo, you've got these pills, radiation, whatever, right? You pick which one you want." You'd be like, what the heck? Why am
right.
I picking?
That's right. Right. And that's a just that just lends itself to the in-home consultation because a lot of people think they I want this and they yeah, I love hardwood, but that's not a practical thing in the bathroom.
Yeah,
So, let's go look at where you want to put that also. Well, you don't want to put hardwood where it's going to be wet from time to time.
yeah,
So, I mean, that also helps. We can go in there and become the expert, so to speak, and
yeah,
uh, and help them with those choices.
yeah. I love that
And
word, expert.
yeah, yeah, that's
It's
uh,
true.
that's the idea. Yeah,
Yeah,
and a lot, and it's the same thing. I mean, people just don't make these choices once every 10 years, every 8 years. So,
yeah,
they haven't thought all that out all the time. And it's our job to kind of be the expert and lend them some advice.
yeah.
It's easier, and it's easier, a lot easier to do when you're in their house as opposed to them being in your storefront.
Yes, 100%. And they're more comfortable there too. Like in your own home,
Oh
like
yeah,
they don't have
yeah,
to go out, go to 5 different stores. Like I love the mobile showroom idea. I think it's great. I think everybody should do it. But obviously there's value in the storefront, option too. But yeah, no, I
yeah. And
like it.
I mean, like the other day we were in one house and why does this floor look like this? And then a 100-pound dog comes around the corner. Oh, well, I understand why. This is why they have issues. Just this dog's too big for this little carpet. Um, Basically.
Yep.
So he's the reason we're going to go to laminate.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
No,
it helps you understand that, okay, well, here's their need, whether they're saying it or not. Here's
yeah.
what's here's why they have some issues with their carpet.
Yeah. 100%. Yeah, and I feel like if they just feel like they're heard and they're like and they feel like you're the expert and you're saying things confidently and you tell them, "Hey, this is what you need. This is what you're looking for, and we can get it done really well for you." I feel like if you just do those couple things, sales just becomes way easier.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, say your bit and then listen. It's and
Yep.
yeah.
I love that. I love that. And with FCI, with Floor Coverings International, I know a couple of things. I don't know all the nuts and bolts, but what would you say is kind of like their, like when you first come in, like what is their kind of philosophy on like, hey, you're starting this franchise, here's how you grow it. Like here's how you can get to this,
Well, oh,
revenue.
they have a model, they take, I mean, they've got some metrics that, hey, here's what the most successful 10% of our
Mm,
franchisees look like,
yeah,
and they have programs to help you build to that model. Here's the model for $2 million in sales. And this is
oh,
what the $2 million franchisees, this is what their franchise looks like.
got it.
And then, that's kind of a, hey, we're going to shoot for this. And then when we get there, we're going to, set our next level. But,
Gotcha.
so that they have a model, and then there's constant training for how do we get to the model.
Yeah. Gotcha. Okay. Yeah, I didn't know it was like that. So it's almost like multiple buckets, like whatever your goal is, like, hey, here's this model if you want to go this far, this model if you want to go just that far.
Yeah.
Kind
Yeah.
of.
But the floor is the 2 million, and we're not there yet, but
Gotcha.
that's what we're modeling for.
Yeah. Yeah. And I feel like you've grown pretty fast for just being in business barely a year. Like, I mean, you guys have done well.
Yeah, we've had, yeah, some good success with it. Um, yeah, we're not at the 2 million level yet, but we're May we did 21 installs. So
Yeah.
I wouldn't have thought that back in September.
Yeah. Yeah. Man, I'm so happy for it. That's just it's so awesome to see like the birth and then like you see the growth of the
Yeah,
baby,
yeah,
right?
yeah.
That's
And
that's gotta be cool
like
for
my
you to
sales
see.
background, when you get to 20, you're like, well, I should be at 60 now. Hmm.
That's
Yeah, so
gosh, I know, man.
yeah,
Yes.
that's just the way I'll always be.
That is the worst thing about sales is it is never enough. It's
No, you'll
never
never fill the hole. Yeah,
no, no.
yeah,
That's why I couldn't, I don't know. Like for me now, like I feel like I can kind of tame it a little bit, but if I was in like a corporate sales job, like in an 8 to 5, like commission only, like hardcore sales, I feel like that'd be really tough. Like because you're always just you got to hit your numbers and like you've always just got to like, just keep getting more and more and more. And it also not even just like because you have to, but because it's fun, like getting
yeah.
into
No,
sales. Awesome.
it's hard to get away from once you become addicted to that. Just
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah. That's the world we live in, especially American entrepreneurship. It's just
that's
like
right.
grow, 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 grow.
Yeah,
Yeah. But man, yeah, it has been really cool just to kind of see your journey, see your success. Like it's been really fun. But I know you're gonna keep killing it. But well, kind of last thing I wanted to go over, because obviously this is a marketing podcast, it's not
right.
a podcast. So obviously you have the in-home appointment, and that's the sales side. Obviously that's you're going to someone, and they're buying the floor and getting installation from you and all that. What have you kind of been, I don't know, seeing work well, or like what have you guys been doing on kind of the marketing side on that front end to like get those appointments? Like what has kind of the process been that you feel like has been working well for you to get those in-home appointments?
I think the faster you jump on the leads, through the lead connect,
Mm,
that's the biggest part. And
jumping on
and we
leads.
have a little
Yeah,
CRM and a follow-up tool. That's the other part. And it's just like anything else. If we can get to the appointment,
yeah,
that's really all we need.
that's it.
And we'll always be refining how do we get to the appointment, and then the math takes over at appointment. At this point
For sure.
we're probably going to sell half of those in-home
Man,
appointments.
that's
Just, I mean,
great.
I
Good
think,
to see.
that's the number I'm going to shoot for constantly, and we'll
Yeah,
be above and below that, at times, but that's the number in the long run is you want to be about half of that.
yeah,
So, in my head, how do you this is what I want to spend on marketing for each appointment. And I realize it's not that, but that's where you want it to land, because I know
of course.
if you can figure out, well, I'm going to land half of these,
Yeah,
now you have your budget.
yep.
and and if you want to up the budget, it should work out this way.
Yeah.
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 So I mean, it becomes mathematical once you get to the appointment. So and I love what you guys do. It's and I love the best part of this is that you manage that. It's not something that it's just not that's not my field is handling the digital leads. But once we get them into our hands, then I feel good
Oh
about
yeah.
what we're doing.
You guys have a
Um,
killer follow-up process. I mean, even outside of like, what we do with the auto text and stuff, like just with your sales girl you have and
yeah,
like you guys just have
Abigail's great.
really,
Yeah, I
yeah,
mean, yeah, that's part of it. I mean, once you get to the house, that's kind of it's not cruise control. I mean, you have to do a good job,
of
but but
course.
but we know what we're doing there,
Yeah.
and once you can get to the
Duplicatable. Like
yeah,
once you have that process down where
right,
it's like,
exactly, yeah,
man, you just keep doing it.
yeah, yeah. I mean, and I love what working with you just because you know within the I mean, all I really know is just the franchise. They're more catered to 250 franchises. You're more catered to a niche of a franchise, and
Right.
you'll take some. All they do is give me a blurb, a report. Hey, this is what's happening. You don't have any input. Well, I mean,
The
and
PDF pie
I've told you
chart.
before. I've told you before. It's like, hey, I hate to tell you how to do your job, but what if we did this? I
Yeah,
mean,
yeah, yeah.
and I love the fact that you'll take suggestions and some thoughts, and because I'm constantly looking for a better lead. I mean, I'd
Oh
much
yeah, of
rather put it in a $1 million house than a $200,000 house. I mean, that's just
course.
easy math. So if we can spend all our money on the bigger jobs, then why would so
Totally.
yeah, and I love just the fact that you're open to all those suggestions and you're not just looking to get us, you know, a kit form deal. It's
Yeah.
let's figure out how to hone this in and just make it work for this market and this
Yeah.
zip code and down to this neighborhood.
Yeah. 100%. It's got to be customizable, like it can't just be like a cookie cutter approach. It's got to be
That's right. Yeah.
consistently worked on.
Yeah.
But yeah, you're kind to say that. But man, we're just trying to throw you alley oops. That's it. You're Michael Jordan was
Well,
kind
I'm in on those too. Yeah. I mean, that's
of
yeah. Yeah.
But no, man, I love what you said though, of like you jump on the lead. And that's something I always try to like preach is like you have to just attack leads. Like if you want appointments, if you want business, like man, you got to go just be a killer and go get them. Like call them a bunch, text them a bunch. Don't give up after the estimate's given if they haven't hit you back a lot. Like that's just how business is won, I feel like a lot of times.
Oh, I think so. And I think that just, I think that a lot of your leads come from 8 o'clock at night and they've spilt something on there and by the morning they've calmed down a little bit but they're not really ready to respond. But if you keep
Yeah,
following up, you put it into a flow. Hey, this is what we look like on the third time we respond, and this is what it
right.
looks like on time number four, and
Yep.
just something to get them to an appointment. I mean, I
Yeah.
that's after that, I feel I'm confident in my abilities to get it done. So,
Yep. Absolutely. I know those like late night leads crack me up because it's like, and that really is, I feel like with a lot of other people too, I feel like it's what I see because, you think about it, people are working throughout the day. They don't have tons of time to be on social media or Google, whatever. But like at 8 o'clock at night, 10 o'clock at night, they're in their bed or on the couch, they're just kind of scrolling and like, oh yeah, okay. I need some floors. Let's do it. So I
yeah.
think it's really funny. But man, last question, and then I'll get you out of here.
Okay.
Do you have maybe just any last piece of advice or any last thing that would be helpful to a flooring company that wants to grow and scale like yourself?
Well, I think you've got to do no matter how much referral business you have, if you're going to grow, this is the way to dial in growth. I mean, it's just, instant growth. You turn it on based on a budget and but you do have to, I will say this, you have to do your part of it too. So,
Sure.
it's not just something, pay the money and expect it to happen, but you've got to do the follow up, but
Yep.
it's there for you to go get it.
Yeah.
Well, just go chase those leads. And
It's an
it's just
alley
got to be a
oop.
part of your process.
Yep. Yep. That's how I look at it. Just throwing alley oops all day. That's it. But you guys dunk them a lot. So that's that's always good. If you're really good at sales, it makes the marketing piece easier for sure. But I think vice versa.
Yeah.
But well,
Well, and,
Zach, thanks for hopping on, man. Really
well,
appreciate
thanks
it.
thanks for having me. We'll take a run at Joe. So
Yeah, that's
yeah,
right. That's right.
yeah.
Yeah, we'll get number one here pretty soon.
Okay.
But man, yeah, you were an awesome first guest, and yeah, I guess we'll be talking soon.
Okay. All right. Thanks, Cameron.
All right, sounds good. I'll see you later.
All right. See ya.